Hey everybody, BMS here, and welcome back to more Let's Play Metal Combat: Falcon's Revenge. Last time we went through the Earth, the Moon, and even Mars, and destroyed pretty much every piece of robotic equipment that stood in our way. Even Anubis and his ST Thanatos had the living hell beat out of them. But unlike Battle Clash, our game didn't end with Thanatos, and now we have our sights set even deeper in space, specifically the first 3 of the 4 outer planets. First up, of course, is Jupiter. Well, to be technical, we're in orbit around Jupiter, but still. This is where we run into this green-looking fellow. His name is Dampe, and he's the pilot of the ST Arachnus. Now, this is also where we run into a new mechanic with the gameplay. All the way through Battle Clash and up to this point in Metal Combat, all of the enemies we've fought have been restricted to horizontal movement. However, starting with Arachnus, most of the enemies from now on can move freely in any direction. Up, down, left, right, hell, even using their advanced alien technology, they can even move, get this, diagonally. It's really amazing. All BS aside, as simple of a tweak to the gameplay as this is, it kind of makes me wonder why they waited until roughly half the game had passed to implement it, but, yeah, you know, why nitpick? Now to jump into the battle right quick, this fight has a couple of noteworthy points. First, the awesome foreground asteroids that are Mode 7. Of course you can destroy them, but they also stop one turbo shot from either you or Arachnus. In other words, they're as useless as hell, aside from maybe fucking up your aim. And the other point, really quick, don't do what I did during this battle and destroy his abdomen. Sure, it's his weak point, but if you destroy it and he's at least has half of his health left, odds are that you're gonna fucking die from his constant spamming of that spiral attack. He's hard as hell to hit during this attack, the turbo shots that he fires out are stronger than normal, and pretty much, even at full health, he'll chew you up and spit you out damn fast. So don't do it. Now once Dampe goes down, he tells us that he's a member of an alien race, since of course the green skin and pointy ears weren't an obvious enough clue to that fact, and that he was stationed at Jupiter to oversee Anubis' conquering of the Earth, so to speak. So with him out of the way, we move on to Saturn, and to be more precise, the Epsilon Ring, which, for those of you that aren't up on your astronomy terminology, the Epsilon Ring is typically the farthest ring from the planet. Now this green, middle-aged, Luigi-looking fellow with the creepy eyebrows is named Zephir, and he's the pilot of this huge ST known as the Cobra. Fun fact of the battle. Zephir is the guy who designed all of the alien STs we encounter in the game, and he also consulted with Carlos when he helped him design the ST Viscount. Of course, this means all of shit to us, but the more you know, right? Now to get down to business. For reasons unbeknownst to me, the designers of the game decided to have this battle revert to the purely horizontal movement of earlier enemies instead of using the all-range mode introduced to us in the last battle. Why? Who knows? Maybe they simply didn't feel like designing the lower half of the Cobra, and then having to go through all the trouble of animating it. Once again, who the hell knows? Now, the gimmick of this fight is fairly obvious. Every time you fire anything stronger than a turbo shot, the Cobra will absorb the shot with his shield, and then he'll use it to power that massive cannon on his arm. The way to get around this is to fire an energy bolt at him to trigger his absorption ability. Immediately start to charge your energy, and as soon as the little disco effect on the screen stops, his shield will be vulnerable for about a second. At that point, you should know what to do. Of course, you can destroy his shield with a level 1 energy bolt if you can manage to hit that flashing orb in the center of it. But this is kind of hard to do, because you have to damn near be pixel perfect with your aiming. Anyway, once you get rid of his shield, it's fairly easy to finish off, especially on the normal difficulty, as he'll pretty much never use his cannon again, even if you haven't destroyed it like I did here. It's the higher difficulties where things start to get tricky at this point, but we don't have to worry about that right now. Now, I have to say I'm kind of disappointed with the fact that they didn't use the all-range mechanic for this battle. In fact, there's a couple of battles later on that don't use it either, which, I mean, there's really no viable reason not to use it. As simple as it is, it manages to add a little difficulty to the battles, since it's a lot harder to lead them with your aim when they can move in more directions than, you know, just 2. But anyway, the Cobra is down for the count, and we apparently beat him so bad that he decided to run home to Mama. Plus, we got the homing laser, which has the exact same function as its Battle Clash equivalent. Anywho, on to the final of the outer planets we have to visit, the Methane Sea on the planet Uranus. Once again, please take notice of the ultimate achievement of console gaming, which is Mode 7. Only this time, instead of random asteroids, the foreground is full of massive chunks of methane ice. Snazzy. Okay, apparently Zephir quite literally ran home to mama. Interesting. Fun fact of the battle. This thing's name is Pepero, which is a common mistranslation of Pamela. And she's not his mother, but rather his wife. So apparently they have a... No, I don't even want to make a guess as to what type of relationship they have. Fuck that. On another note, she is also the chief commander of the alien military. But enough of that random bullshit. Let's get back to the battle. As with the Cobra, this battle has a certain gimmick to it that can make fighting the Groken a little tricky. In fact, it's the same gimmick that forces the battle to last a minimum of roughly 30 seconds. And that's only if you manage to get her to hit her in the instant kill spot, which is tiny and only visible for about 2 seconds at most, so that's kinda hard. Okay, so it's fairly obvious which points you need to attack on her. What makes this difficult is that any shot, aside from turbo shots, that hit any part of her body that isn't a weak spot will be reflected back at you. And of course, the stronger the shot you fire off, the stronger the bullet that's going to be reflected back at you. Now, with all that in mind, this battle has a number of phases to it. Each phase has a certain weak spot that can be attacked, and after destroying it will lead to another phase which will reveal more weak spots. And yes, you have to go through each of these sequentially. You have to do this, which is exactly why this battle takes just shy of a full minute. And really that's being kind of quick about it. Now there are ways to speed this up a bit. The instant kill spot, which is shown during the transition from her second phase to the third one, there you go. That's one way. The other one is if you can actually hit that center triangular panel when it's open, you'll destroy the top half of the ST, which will do away with all its reflective abilities, as you can see here. Pretty much the bottom line is that unless you get extremely lucky with your aiming and hit her in her instant kill spot, this is going to be a long and drawn-out battle, and it's not uncommon for the fight to last anywhere from 1:30 to over 2 minutes. Anywho, basically, just take your time, focus on the weak spots as they come up, and you should be fine, even if it does take you an eternity. Now with the Groken down, we're introduced to yet another plot twist. The alien mothership Eltoria is about to drop out of warp and fuck everything up. Well, we're not gonna stand for that shit now, are we? Well, Mike and JB say nay. And golly gee, this looks awfully familiar. Well, hey, look, it's a gold Thanatos. And since he's gold, he must be stronger than the other, because that's pretty much the unwritten rule of older games, that a gold version is always much better than the original. Now, I could explain what the hell's going on here, but there's no need, as this is where the plot starts to culminate itself. So I'll let it do the explaining for me, and I'll see you back when the battle begins. Okay, so this is where we get to the nitty-gritty of the game. As one would expect, since Vervius is a simple palette swap of Thanatos, he uses all of Thanatos' attacks, with 1 or 2 more thrown in for flavor. Of course, the major difference is that he's not limited to horizontal movement, as you can see, and his attacks charge slightly faster, and they do a little more damage. All of this is expected, and you should be able to deal with it at this point in the game. Now, his new attack that Vervius likes to use is his little Mirage attack, which is pretty much the same thing that the ST Valius used on us in Battle Clash. Each of his Mirages can fire attacks at you, but if you can hit the real Vervius with an energy bolt, then the Mirages will vanish before they can actually pull off their attack. And you can tell which is the real version because the little aura that his attacks give off when he's charging them will be white, while the Mirages will give off a standard green aura. Also, forgive me for taking my time with this bastard. It's usually around this time in the game that I get kinda bored, and the sadistic son of a bitch in me comes out, and I like to dismember the hell out of these bastards. Ah, there we go. If you just keep your patience, this is a pretty easy battle. But alas, just as with Battle Clash, this is only the first half of the battle. Real Anubis still has another form that he's just been dying to show. and it looks fairly similar to the final form of Thanatos from Battle Clash, only a little bigger and a little meaner. Of course, if you stuck with me through Battle Clash, then you probably figured something like this was going to happen. Rola flies in, saves the day, recharges our energy, and thus we're ready to take him down. Interesting thing is that Mike's response depends on how much energy she heals. Here she didn't heal much, so Mike was pretty much, every little bit helps, thanks, but whatever. But if you have less than half of your life left, then Mike will say something along the lines of, thank God you just saved our asses. Once again, it's kind of a simple thing, but I thought it was a nice change from the static dialogue from Battle Clash. Okay, for this battle, if you've got any bomb items, it's probably best to take them with you now, for one simple reason which I'm about to get into. So, the kicker with this boss is that, well, number one, he's huge, which should be fairly obvious, and that in turn means that he has a ton of attack points on his body that he can shoot at you from. This makes it kinda easy to get overwhelmed by him if you're not careful, which is one place where your bombs come in handy, but that's still not where they live up to their true potential in this fight. On the flip side of all this, his huge body equates to a huge target pretty much, especially when you consider that every part of him is vulnerable at one point or another. This is where your bomb items really shine. If you noticed at the start, he had 6 of those little orb, ball, eye things flying around him. Usually 2 bombs are enough to destroy all of them for fairly good damage, actually. And then that leaves you to focus on his mouths, which open at what seem like random points during the battle. His 2 bottom mouths are where he can fire a massive amount of bullets at you, so it's probably best to take them out first. But there's really no reason to get picky with this shit either. I mean, play on the defensive and attack what you can when you can, as that's what this battle is all about. Defense, baby. Also, nice mouth glitch there, asshole. Even if it takes you over 2 or 3 minutes, which isn't unheard of for a first-time run with this guy. Just make sure that you shoot down everything he fires at you, as like I said before, it's incredibly easy for this guy to overwhelm you with his firepower. This is definitely one of the hardest fights we've had so far, so expect to lose a couple times if this is your first go. Oh, also, before I forget, a not-so-handy tip for this guy. If you can shoot his center mouth when it's shut directly between those 2 tusks with a treble energy bolt, it'll force him to open one of his 4 other mouths. Like I say, it's not very handy. It can help, but it's very rare when a situation where it actually would help comes up. Anywho, once you beat this poor bastard, we're once again given a typical bad guy failure speech. Also, this is where the plot climaxes, and Rola's gonna fly in and explain the finer details of the story to us, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut up and join you again when something exciting happens. Ooh, I bet you can't wait. I say, goddamn, that was some high-quality voice acting there, wasn't it? You know what? I'm gonna blame Mode 7 for that shit. I know it was just a graphical enhancer, but fuck if that wasn't some Mode 7 quality VA. And we're introduced to an alien that has a bit of a Flavor Flav hang-up. I now believe I have seen everything. Alright, in fact, you know what? Fuck it. Guess the gender, win a prize, and aside from getting the lightning bomb, which is completely useless in terms of damage, and would probably be best described as an anti-gimmick item, I have nothing else to say, so I'll see you at the next battle with the true king, or queen, or whatever the hell that thing actually is. Okay, so here we are finally, the last stage in the game. For the Giga-Desp, you definitely need to take the lightning bomb we got from Vervius, as its sole purpose in this game is to do away with one of the gimmicks during this battle, which is, it's completely fucking dark, where just a faint silhouette of the enemy is visible. Why they even included this gimmick when they give you an item that completely nullifies it is anybody's guess. Now, as for the fight, it's fairly simple, another purely horizontal battle at that. Now, you can't do any real damage to the Giga-Desp until it enters its second phase, so play the defensive and use all your bombs to take out as many of those orbs circling her as you can. If you can take them out quick enough, she'll enter the next phase in about 30 seconds. But if you fail at it like I did here, you'll have to play defense for close to a full minute. So just use your turbo shots to shoot down everything that she fires at you, and you should be fine. Now you'll know when the second phase starts as the background will flicker and the music will change. Now when this happens, stop whatever it is you're doing and immediately start to charge up your energy, even if it means taking a couple of hits from any shots that she has left on screen. Immediately start to charge up a treble energy bolt, alright? The Giga-Desp will open up as you see here, and you need to hit that core with the treble energy bolt. Now you're only going to get one chance at this, so if you miss or you take too long, she's going to fire out an indestructible blast. That's an insta-killer on you. Unless, of course, you're using a shield like what comes with the V-System. But overall, it's a fairly simple boss, just as long as you remember to start charging exactly when she enters her second form, because if you wait around 1 or 2 seconds, you're not going to charge up your treble energy bolt in time. And that's going to end badly for you 9 times out of 10. Now, like any good final boss, of course, she has a second form, and she's going to transform into that right now. And what's this? Why, she's holding Rola captive. Why, this should be interesting. Unfortunately, it's not, because neither is this an all-range battle, and it's not a horizontal battle either. If you can put 2 and 2 together, that means she's stationary, which kind of a letdown for a final boss, but okay, I can dig it. Now, if you listen to this dumb broad, she's rambling on about how the Giga-Desp's weak point is behind her body, and that we should shoot her to reveal it. Well, if you actually follow her advice, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, as, well, what's behind her, you ask? Absolutely nothing. It actually gives the Giga-Desp an advantage because it allows it to float up and down and to the left and right slightly. It still stays on screen, but at least with Rola stuck on it, it can't move anywhere. So, down to the battle. Another great gimmick they managed to pull out of their asses on this one. As you can see, if you shoot the Giga-Desp with anything stronger than a turbo shot, it will heal it. And if you heal it enough, it's going to grow new body parts. Fortunately for us, 90% of the Giga-Desp's attacks can be easily destroyed with nothing more than turbo shots. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with holding down the fire button and aiming, well, anywhere on the big green monster. Now, when it opens its blue eyes to fire at you, you can hit them with an energy bolt to destroy them for a little extra damage, so keep that in mind. Now, this battle has 3 phases, and once you reach the 3rd phase, where the skull is visible, then the Giga-Desp can no longer regenerate, so feel free to charge away at this point. Now me, I've been saving up these damned items all the way through the game, and I'm going to end it with a bang and take this bitch out with the V-System. Oh, and keep in mind that any item other than the homing laser and the various shield items will probably kill Rola, so use them at your discretion here. Anywho, after the Giga-Desp finally stops exploding after about 5 minutes, we win! And Rola's gonna fly in and thank us for, well, not blowing the hell out of her, I guess, which, that makes sense at least. I mean, I can't blame her there. Now, aside from the credits and the battle statistics screen, this would pretty much be the end of things. However, there are actually 6 endings you can get in this game, 4 of which you can get with the Falcon. Now, if you're like me, you'd think that the requirements for each ending would be rather varied. Well, then you thought wrong. The ending you get depends solely on how you handle the final battle. So let's rewind and take a look at the other endings, shall we? Okay, the ending we got the first time was, well, the good ending. So now we're going to get just the good ending. To do this, you have to lose. Unlike any other battle where you get a game over, here Mike pops up, looking a tad bit under the weather, and pulls some kind of shenanigan to give you full health, but he dies in the process. So now after you blast the Giga-Desp, Rola will fly in and say almost the exact same thing, with the exception that she's a little sad that poor Widow Mikey didn't make it. And you're treated to the exact same credit sequence as the very good ending. Totally worth it, right? Well, you haven't seen anything yet. Now, to get the first of the 2 bad endings, destroy Rola but have Mike live. You're treated to no ending dialogue, but are instead greeted with a cutscene showing Eltoria going boom. And also the credit sequence has a rather sad tune playing. I would show off the very bad ending, which you should be smart enough to figure out how to get that one now, except that it's no different from this one, except for a minor sprite change at the end of the credit sequence. So if for some reason you really want to see that, you could play it for yourself. Anywho, that concludes the Falcon run. Next up I'll be going through the high mode with the ST that we just unlocked by beating the game, the Tornado. So I'm going to leave you now with the somber credit sequence, and I will see you next time for the Tornado run. Peace out, y'all.